Why did the 2002 to 2007 Jeep Liberties have to be recalled?
It was an agreement between the federal government, the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, and FCA.
Well, what was the problem?
The problem, there was no safety defect ever identified for this vehicle.
Don't recalls normally address a problem?
It depends what type of recall we're talking about.
A safety recall normally addresses a problem. Would you agree with that?
A safety recall normally would be handling a safety defect, but this particular recall, a safety defect was never identified.
Are you saying that well, let me just ask you this way. Do you concede that there was a problem with the rear tank Jeeps and the 2002 to 2007 Liberties?
Objection, foundation.
I'm stating that there is never a defect, a safety defect identified for the Jeep Liberties.
Was there a problem with them or not?
Same objection, foundation.
When you state problem, I don't know what that means. I'm stating that there is no safety defect for that particular vehicle.
So is it your testimony then that FCA conducted a recall on a vehicle that had no problem?
FCA conducted a safety recall as a negotiation with NHTSA.
The question I'm trying to get to is whether you agree there was a problem with the vehicle or whether you don't. Are you going to answer that question?
Objection form. Has to be answered.
I'm stating that there was never a safety defect identified in that vehicle.
Well, would you agree that the gas tank in the 2002 to 2007 Liberties was dangerously exposed?
Objection, foundation.
I am not a fuel tank engineer, so I don't feel that I'm able to answer that question.
You were involved in the recall process and administering the recall of the 2002-2007 Liberties, right?
The administration of the recall, yes, correct.
Okay. Did you realize or think about whether the gas tank in those vehicles was exposed to rear impact?
That is outside the scope of my position as a recall administration manager.
Well, let's look at some pictures and see if that gets us anywhere. I want to show you now what's been marked as Plans Exhibit number 28. And I'm handing copies to all the lawyers here. Do you recognize the vehicle shown in the two pictures on Plans Exhibit 28 as a 2002 to 2007 Jeep Liberty?
Yes.
Now, obviously, the vehicle wasn't made with a red gas tank, so what happened here is we wrapped red tape around the gas tank so that it would be more visible for the pictures. Do you see the gas tank there with the red tape around it?
Yes.
Do you agree that that gas tank is exposed?
Objection, foundation, beyond the witness's expertise.
I can state that I can see the red tape that you put around the fuel tank.
Yes, I see the red tape also. My question is, do you agree that that gas tank in Plans Exhibit 28 is exposed to rear impact?
Objection, foundation. Calls for an opinion from an expert, or from an expert, and witnesses said he doesn't have expertise in this area.
As I stated, I am not a fuel tank engineer, nor am I a structural engineer.
Well, you don't have to be an engineer to see the gas tank in Plans Exhibit 28, do you?
Objection, argumentative.
As I previously stated, I can see the red tape that is representing the fuel tank.
Do you agree that it is exposed from the rear?
Same objection, asked and answered.
As I stated, I can see the red tape of the fuel tank, around the fuel tank.
Well, that's still not an answer. So let me show you something else, and we'll see if we can get any closer with a comparison. I'm going to hand you now what I've marked as Plans Exhibit number 97. Now, I'll represent to you that Plans Exhibit 97 is the front page and then an excerpt from a brochure for the 1999 Dodge Durango. I've got a copy of the brochure with me, but it's hard for a court reporter to make copies of a full brochure, so I pulled these excerpts. Anyway, on the front, do you see the the picture of the 99 Durango, the words 99 Durango, and the Dodge logo there?
And before you answer, just for the record, Mr. Butler, I'm going to object to the first phrase of this question.
What was it?
That's not you said that's not an answer. I'm objecting to that comment as being part of the question.
Oh, okay. So the subject of that, the question now pending is whether you see on the front of Plate Exhibit 98 the words 1999 Durango, a picture of the Dodge Durango, and the Dodge logo.
I see that on Exhibit 97.
And Dodge is an FCA brand and was a Chrysler brand before that, right?
Dodge is a brand of Chrysler, yes.
And now Fiat-Chrysler Automobiles, right?
Yes.
All right. Now turn with me to the second page of Exhibit 97. And for comparison's sake, look at the bottom right there. You see that highlighted language?
Yes.
Doesn't that say the fuel tank, biggest in class at 25 gallons, is mounted securely between the frame rails and ahead of the rear axle?
Yes, that is highlighted.
Okay. And then we can see a picture of it. If we look on the left side of the second page of Plaintiff's Exhibit 97, you see like the overview of the 1999 Dodge Durango there?
Yes.
Do you see the gas tank?
Yes, I do.
The gas tank is across from the muffler, and the gas tank's that long black object with a silver circle in the middle of it, right?
Yes.
Now, if you look at that second page of Plaintiff's Exhibit 97 and you compare it to Plaintiff's Exhibit 28, can you tell us which of those gas tanks is more exposed?
Objection, foundation.
I can't tell if you can see the fuel tank from behind the Dodge Durango.
You can't tell?
No, I don't know if you could see that or not.
Well, then let's take a closer look at the Dodge Durango. We've identified the gas tank before, right?
Yes.
And on one side of the gas tank you have a frame rail, and on the other side you have a frame rail and a muffler. Is that correct?
That's what it appears to be, a muffler. We'll make that assumption that that's the muffler.
Okay, well anyway, there's a frame rail on each side, right?
Yes, there is.
And then behind the gas tank in the 99 Durango, second page of Plaintiff's Exhibit 97, there's a rear axle, right?
Yes.
And even behind that, there's a spare tire, right?
Yes.
And behind that, there's a bumper, right?
What appears to be a bumper, correct.
Now, and then look again at Plaintiff's Exhibit 28. There's not a rear axle behind the gas tank, is there?
In Exhibit 28,
Right.
I do not see the axle behind the red tape around the fuel tank.
So can you tell us which gas tank is more exposed, the one in the 1999 Durango in Plaintiff's Exhibit 97, or the one in the 2002 to 2007 Liberty in Plaintiff's Exhibit 28?
Objection, foundation, beyond the witness's expertise.
As stated before, I can see the red tape that's on the Jeep Liberty. I do not know if I can see the fuel tank behind the Dodge Durango. This
Okay.
picture does not give a representation of the rear of the vehicle as is Exhibit 28.
Which gas tank do you think is safer?
I can't answer that question. I am not a fuel tank or a structural engineer.
As a matter of common sense, can you tell the jury which gas tank is safer in rear impact, the one in Plaintiff's Exhibit 28 or the one in Plaintiff's Exhibit 97?
I can't answer that question. I am not a structural engineer or a fuel tank engineer. But our vehicles, the Jeep Liberty, pass all federal regulations